Welcome to episode 9 of our Road to the Inspection. Tomorrow is the first day in Cologne in which we'll host the inspectors. Thursday and Friday is also going to be days in which we host them in our rented offices. And it's been quite a run up to it.
Welcome to Part 9, Inspection Recap and Final Prep.
So we thought, ahead of giving you a little bit of our own recap of the inspection, next week we give you a little bit of a recap of what already happened, summarize all the past few weeks of sprint for parts of teams here at GCP Service in the run-up. Everything started 5 weeks ago, middle of July, with an inspection letter announcing that 2 of our trials, for which we are the sponsor, are going to be inspected. 3 people from Cologne had announced that they were going to inspect us. And from there, we formed internal teams to tackle the challenge, compile all the information and documents they need for review, and to organize the logistics around the meetings. Knowing that our office is too small, we rented some office spaces to host the inspection because you need 2 separate rooms. And we aligned our teams internally to prepare all of the documents that were requested by end of July. Everything was submitted in time without much problems. And after that, few additional requests and demands came up. Among those were a couple of contracts and documents that needed to be reviewed. We got the agenda 2 weeks or a week and a half ahead of the inspection ourselves as well, with a clear focus on vendor management, on some data-driven processes, on even highlighting the business model of GCP Service West, the sponsor of the trial and its role, and gave us a good idea of what to expect. A surprise came that 3 additional inspectors were announced, 2 from the B farm itself, our competent authority, which are usually not joining in these inspections. So it's going to be a full round with a bunch of people there that we can discuss, conduct, and have clinical trials together with. Of course, there's a few hiccups always at the end, or a few last-minute things to solve. Today, or rather on Monday, we got the request to prepare 2 laptops for the people on site in case there's any technical difficulties with accessing any of the remote file sharing services and our eTMF during the on-site inspection piece. And therefore, we organized that on short notice. There was some issues with catering last minute because now we were more people. And apparently, a lot of the caterers that could supply us with some lunch were busy. So therefore, we had to maneuver around this as well. But everything can be solved. And all of these last-minute requests can also be managed. And therefore, now we are looking forward to 3 days of discussion and exchange around the best practice for small companies to run clinical trials when they outsource most of the work to be done, which is a very familiar process and approach to running clinical trials for a lot of small companies as well as large companies that simply have a wide portfolio. So the lessons learned will be very applicable to many of you, and we hope you're going to learn something from it afterwards. And that leaves me to say see you next week with a recap of how the inspection went.